Going on, people? Wanted to give an update on Bitcoin and a few alts. Um, the last video I stated that we were starting to form bearish divergence, which are RSI and potentially your MACD. Fortunately, around like 55,000, 54,000, Bitcoin held that area of support, temporary support, and currently you're kind of you're back testing the previous high back in February as support right now. Maybe, maybe not. The day hasn't, ended yet, so I have to wait for that candle close to see if that holds. But I mean, for the most part, it's still pretty much the same. You're still losing momentum on the daily. On your MACD, RSI still looks, terrible. You had the Fed come out yesterday and said that we're going to support the market no matter what, as far as keeping asset prices up. And they really didn't do anything. What I was discussing in the last video about the interest rates, the 10-year Treasury is rise. There wasn't any plan yet. They basically are allowing the market to play out, and that was you had to bounce off of that news yesterday. Let's go into the 4-hour. You had to bounce off that news, but unfortunately today, and I'll look at that as well as the 10-year actually has been, interest rate has been rising still. Sorry. I just deleted my drawings on here, but I can just easily redraw what I had from a couple of weeks ago or week and a half ago. I was thinking there was like a inverse head and shoulders. The target has not hit, but I mean, sometimes you don't make that target. I had this posted as a channel on the 4-hour. You see that you broke below it temporarily, got back above, and back into the channel. Right now, to me personally, I'm not as bullish. I'm seeing a lot of people saying we're going to all-time highs. Again, looking at the daily, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to break down. Another thing that has me concerned is looking at the 3-day. Hide this real quick. 3-day as well. Use this time frame for mid to longer term view. You see we got a peak, another peak, higher peak, and just like on the daily, you're making triple RSI bearish divergence, and your MACD is also divergent as well, bearish divergence, and you're losing momentum again. Haven't got negative momentum on the MACD. Your Scotch RSI is starting to trend down, so you're losing momentum on a more longer term time frame. It just I don't see anything on any time frame right now that has me bullish. You can also argue right now that we're making on the MACD, making hidden bearish divergence on the 4-hour. You got a higher amounts of momentum but a lower peak on a lower low on the 4-hour. So if we start to really roll over here, I think we're going to be testing this low, honestly. If this range around like 53,700 doesn't hold, you have the old breakout trend line for the inverse head and shoulders, around like 52,500. That breaks, your next target is around 43 43,000, 43,500. Again, unless we pivot or get some like fundamental news. I mean, to me, honestly, I think the top could be in, not saying the ultimate top, but maybe a top for a few weeks, few months. Honestly, I mean, this is a great bearish argument for a rollover here. And I was also looking at the RSI. You have like consolidation with the RSI, and whether it breaks bullish or bearish. I mean, right now, the lower peaks, higher highs, the edges to the bears. So, if you're ultra bullish right now, I mean, unless something changes, I think you're gonna start to feel some pain soon. That's just my perception of what's going on with Bitcoin. And I was looking at Ethereum, and it was looking like let's see if there's, use a different chart. It's looking like a head and shoulders on the 4-hour. I got to delete all these. So other time frames. And you still have that on the daily, still that hidden bearish divergence. You're making a lower high, but you have, a higher peak on your MACD. That was bearish divergence. We're in this channel. Had this as a triangle. Just delete this stuff. And you're about to break bearishly out of this channel. Scroll into the 4-hour, what I was seeing. To me, it looks, like you got a mini head and shoulders starting to play out, potentially. With the head, the right shoulder forming. You got your trend line, a little slanted head and shoulders. You're in this channel. You've been in this channel since late January. You see, this is the pattern I had for Ethereum. Bitcoin had the inverse head and shoulders. Had a similar type of pattern, but I had more like a symmetric triangle. It just doesn't. I mean, there's nothing on here that has me, again, just like what Bitcoin has me ultra bullish right now. Next, I'm more leaning right now. Honestly, I am short right now, and I'm starting to buy like the down bear tokens, and you can see like you got a inverse head and shoulder forming on a 4-hour for the ETH down bear token. Just nothing is, nothing right now is screaming, to be a bull right now, technically. So that's just something to be very cautious of. I wanted to give her another recap of a few coins that I was, bought earlier in January or end of January. If you remember, I was seeing in this range, the load up on film was around like 21.50. And yesterday, actually, it got all the way up to $98. Took a lot more profit off the table from, took profit when it got in this range and consolidated. Maybe, you wouldn't hope that we consolidate, probably test the 63 range as support. Maybe it takes a while. If Bitcoin doesn't, break down, even if it does break down, stay above 63 and, consolidate, and maybe we're talking in a month, there'll be another advantage on a lower term time scale there was on the 4 hour. Just haven't been making a lot of content lately. Haven't been updating on odds a lot, but there was a bullish divergence in this range on the 4 hour. And you can see we never made a lower high, just kept accumulating, and you finally had you tested and flagged and broke out. You want, like I said, the ideal situation would be consolidate, test 63 as support, maybe go a little bit below it, but stay in that range and hold as support before you make another run. As I was stating, around like $20, $21.50, that if you ever broke 63 and stayed above it, you could be seeing get a real retrace. And at the time I was saying, like, it was sounding crazy at the time, just hit the 236. But 115, 145, 175, when I'm saying it down here, this is crypto or any asset. When you have a retrace, these are your targets. Is the 618 is your golden pocket. You usually get at least a 50% retrace, but in crypto, 618 is usually your target for a common retrace. But depending on what Bitcoin does, maybe this could be it, or hopefully just consolidation before you make another run. But as you see in here, it took from February 9th to basically around like the 12th to actually break this zone. You back tested it. Let's go in more. And you back tested it, flagged, ran again. But there's no advantage right now. More than likely, you're going to consolidate before you make another impulse up. There's no, just looking at this earlier, there's no divergence or anything. Just extremely overbought. Got back up to 90 on RSI. So, if you've been in this asset, since I was staying in it like at least over a month ago, I mean, easily it's like 2150. Remember, it was like 2144 is when I got in. To as high as over 300%, 356%. Yeah, it's a really great return on film or Filecoin. Another one that I actually got out of was that this thing really flew. I was seeing around 34 cents, and I had targets higher. And then I found out that there was actually more data on the USD pair on Bitcoin. I mean, on the Binance chart. This doesn't have all the data, but even so, it's still, performed. You broke this 44-cent range where I said it was critical. Balanced out off of support. You kind of wanted to see this for Filecoin, and I took profit here. I mean, I think it was like 75 cents. I sold off, and it consolidated, broke out, consolidated more, and broke out. I mean, it's at 120 now, still near the highs. Getting a little divergence on, not so much. You had divergence played out. Now at resetting, the impulse, nothing on MACD. Still looks good. Again, just like film or Filecoin, you're probably just going to need some consolidation, sell off, probably back test this area of support, around like 86 cents, or maybe, maybe higher. Just hold this as support, and probably will take, a few weeks before you get another impulse up, depending on, again, everything is contingent on Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin just doesn't look as bullish. So if you're still in these like trades, I would be take a profit, and you see Bitcoin is selling off even more now. So like I said, I really am expecting, and I think it's going to take a lot of people by surprise. I think at least we're going to test this low, if not lower, if we break 52,000. But there was another coin data. I got out this way too early. This is going insane. I was saying around, I think it was like 250. I think I have it on another chart. Let's go to the tether pair. Yeah, it was even lower. And let's hide this real quick. I kind of gave a little update on the last video, if I'm not mistaken. And I was kind of wary of it. It was in this range, but it still just kept moving. It's still moving today, honestly. Still. But at around like 2, it was like 170. I was saying I was getting into this position. Hit a target 412. Almost hit the target. I took profit. Came back, consolidate, never even tested, this pattern. And it's been one of the best performing alts, best performing big alts, like in the top, I'd say top 50. But you're starting to, if you start to flame out, you'll have divergence, even though you're not overbought on the 4-hour. But on the daily, again, just like Filecoin and BAT, you're just overbought right now. So maybe you get some good consolidation, come back and test these areas that support. Maybe it's $4 or $5 range before you make another impulse, or maybe you just keep running because this asset has just been moving. It's been performing very well. Got out way too early, but some of you decent profit. But sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you get out of asset and then it goes up another 100%. But Theta's been looking great. But let me look at the US 10-year real quick. So I mentioned that, and that the Fed, had this rising wedge. It broke out bullishly. This is actually not the high for 10 years. It was all the way up to 1.754, 1.754 earlier today. I remember breaking it when I looked at this chart and saying if we broke this peak, that we were going to test this area in here. Scroll out more. This is just not good. You don't want the 10-year to break this peak and get over the 2%. I think you will have a real correction in equities and private and crypto as well. I know looking at the indicators, they're really overbought with the RSI on the weekly. I think it's at its all-time high, honestly, if I'm not mistaken, on a weekly. So looking at this earlier, second highest at least. Well, actually not second highest, but it's getting to those areas where this is the 4th highest on this chart, where you're going to be testing all-time highs on the RSI. Just fundamentally not good, because if this keeps rising, that means people are taking less risk in the market, and that's probably going to mean probably why you're seeing that the bearish divergence on BTC, and possibly we'll have a correction at least. But let me look at the DXY. following this for a minute. And still on the weekly, so you had the bullish divergence. Still just playing out. You just hit a 236 last week. Haven't made a common retrace yet. You had the wedge, broke out of it bullishly. This keeps gaining value. I mean, you dumped yesterday off the Fed news, and everything that was lost is pretty much gain. You're bullishly engulfing today. Close to bullishly engulfing on the dollar today. Really doesn't bode well if you are, again, bullish on crypto right now. If you are ultra bull on Bitcoin, like I said, it doesn't mean like the longer term it's over, but shorter term, I mean, short term, midterm, it looks, this doesn't look good at all. And also, which I forgot to mention with Bitcoin, as you've been making these higher peaks, your volume has, been going down as well. So your volume's going down, you're making various divergence on every new peak. I'm expecting this, this consolidation to break down bearishly, and that's just, that's how I'm seeing it right now. But unfortunately, that's going to, be negatively effective to alts and everything in the crypto market. Might do a video updating on equities and gold and silver. I haven't done an update on, those asset classes in a minute. Gold, I mean, very unfortunate what's happening to gold and silver. But, as I stated about a month ago, if your US 10-year was going to keep trending up, your dollar's probably going to trend up, and, those type of risky assets were going to, lose value. So, that's just a recap on, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a few alts that, that I was holding at one point or still holding. Just stay safe out there. Don't buy into these narratives that the dollar is, done for and everything like that. Like, you really have to pay attention to what's happening in these charts. And right now, the edge to me is going to the bears. And odds are we're going to see, a correction. And I honestly, I'm setting my targets really to 30,000. So I'm not saying we won't get there. We still got to break these supports. Our next support is really at 52,000. Break that, you're going to see 43. But hopefully, I'm wrong and we pivot and we make new highs. But right now, that's just to the bulls, to the bears, and until the next time, peace.